Jonah Ballow here for Knicks.com with Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo, good to catch up with you. It's been a little bit.
It's been a while.
Let's talk about your rehab process. After the surgery, what was that like for you? What did you go through those couple of weeks to kind of get back on your feet?
It's been a long process. I've been in the house, bedridden for about 2-3 weeks. The first time I came out the house was like after week 4 or something like that. So I feel much better now. I'm off the brace, I'm off the crutches. Now it's just a matter of just getting back into the flow of things.
What's the daily process for you in terms of that rehab and where you're going to? I know it's a big picture thing, but that daily, everyday grind that you have to go through.
Well, we kind of sectioned it off into weeks. The first 6 weeks is one program, and then the next 2-3 weeks is another program. So we tiered it off into a weekly program. But the day-to-day grind has just been it's been just tough trying to come back. Just the whole process of staying in the gym, going to rehab all day, every day, and that's kind of your main focus and your only focus at this time.
It's interesting. I was watching Kobe Bryant's Muse documentary. I don't know if you saw it or not. Yeah. I thought of you because I thought, this is a mental thing that Kobe's had to go through now. Obviously, his injuries are different than yours, but you have to get your mind in a different place. And you really haven't gone through significant injuries before in a big surgery. Was that a place that you had to go to?
Not quite. Kobe had some significant injuries, man, that he had to deal with and overcome. Me, it was just a matter of getting this done and just start rebuilding yourself once again. But I kind of take this time off right now to kind of just rebuild my whole body, my whole mindset, and get some clarity and kind of turn over a new leaf and a new start and figure it out from there.
Now we know the process is usually, the players meet with front office, Phil Jackson. What will that be like for you, that discussion that you will have with him, when you guys close things out at the end of the season?
I mean, the time is now. Like, there's no need to, hold back. We got to go forward, but we also got to be smart about the decisions we make, because it's a lot of different ways you can approach this offseason. It's a lot of different ways you can approach the NBA draft depending on where you land, in the lottery. So it's a lot of different scenarios that can take place, depending if you 1, 2, 3, or 4. So,
what goes through your mind when you're watching the game from afar and knowing the process it's going to take for you to get back into that superstar status where you were at? What goes through your mind during those time periods?
Now it's just it's a mental thing for me. Sitting down and watching the games, breaking the games down. More time I have off, the more time I can spend, kind of analyzing and kind of putting myself, into different situations out there on the basketball court. But as far as being back, man, I feel great now, and it's been maybe 4 or 5 weeks now, and I feel great. I feel like I'm ahead of schedule. I feel like I'm capable of doing things now that, most guys or most people in my situation, would take them 8 to 10 weeks, to get where I'm at right now. So I feel great about my recovery and, and my returns.
It's interesting. We always talk about this every offseason. I think I ask you, what are you going to do to change your game? What are you going to do to add to your game? Do you think you have to change or modify your game at this point?
I mean, at this point in my career, man, I can only enhance, try to enhance my game. It's nothing that, you should try to change. It's nothing that you should, try to add, drastically. But it's certain things that you want to, kind of, add to the repertoire a little bit or work on, as far as, kind of sharpening up the whole tool shed. So as far as changing the game, it's kind of hard to say at this point in my career that I'm going to change my, my game. I've always been, a scorer that would never change. But mentally, and my approach to the game, I'm trying to sharpen up those tools.
You mentioned the summer, the draft, free agency, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts going to be going on here. Do you start to envision what this team is starting to look like with you back and now those pieces and maybe a couple of the parts that could be there this next year?
I've been, I've had, multiple visions of where we at right now and where we can go and the possibilities of what we can create and what we're going to create. I know it's a lot of things being said about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, but everything takes time. But our time is right now. We've been put in this situation, for a reason. This past season, no, we can't change that. We only can learn from that and get better.
All right, moving to free agency in the summer. Let's talk in general.
Yeah.
You went through this. You're the franchise player in the New York uniform here. What is the pitch?
Man, this is it's teasing me. I'm itching over here right now.
What's the pitch to free agents?
I mean, the first pitch is, see what we're creating over here. Don't kind of, judge us off of, the past season. Look into the future, look forward, look ahead. Because what we're going to create is a winning culture here, and I believe in that. But you got to want to play in New York, and you got to want to, believe. You got to want to be part of the process, want to be part of the grind and grit and grind, and you got to want to come in here and work and win. And if that's not what you want, then I don't think New York is for you. But if that's what you want, then we can definitely sit down and we can talk.
All right, I like that. I'm going to join the team. You sold me. Now, you look at this summer, aside from the rehab basketball work, what are plans for you? I know you're always busy doing things, whether it's court dedications in Puerto Rico, outside, business ventures that you're in as well. So what are some of the plans for you?
It's hard to say now because it's, my mind is, I'm programmed to still be in season. I'm programmed to still be practicing and working on and, kind of putting a lot of that stuff to the side. So my schedule, my off-season schedule, haven't been set yet. I do plan on going back, to Puerto Rico with some big things that's, going to be announced over the next couple of weeks and with me in Puerto Rico. So I'm looking forward to that. And just some things here and there. But my schedule is not set because of my surgery and because of the rehab.
All right, well, it'll be exciting to follow you throughout the summer. Hopefully we'll get to catch up again. And it's been great to see you back in the uniform. Like you said, this is just a tease.
Yeah, this is teasing me, man. I told everybody this is a tease. They made me put the headband on, the sleeves, and they teasing me.
Well, it's going to be a short time till we're back on the floor and seeing you in action. Thank you so much, Carmelo. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, John.
There he is, Carmelo Anthony, right here on Knicks.com.